Good evening, everyone. It is a privilege to be here with all of you today. I want to begin with a simple phrase, one that might sound like a motivational poster or something you'd scroll past on Instagram. But tonight, I want you to pause and feel the weight of it. Believe you can and you will. This is not about toxic positivity or blind faith. This is about the power of belief, not the kind that ignores fear, but the kind that holds fear in one hand and courage in the other and chooses to move forward anyway. It's about owning your story, showing up with your whole heart, and daring to trust that you are enough. So let's talk about what it truly means to believe in yourself, not from a place of perfection, but from a place of vulnerability, courage, and deep inner worth. Self-belief begins in vulnerability. Belief in yourself doesn't begin when everything is going right. It begins when you allow yourself to be seen, messy, unsure, imperfect, and still choose to show up. Vulnerability is not weakness, it's the birthplace of belief. When you have the courage to say, I'm scared, but I'm trying, that's where transformation begins. Believing you can is not about pretending you're fearless. It's about daring to move forward with the fear and not letting it define your worth. Shame is the enemy of self-belief. If there is one thing that strangles our belief in ourselves, it's shame. That deep voice that whispers, you're not enough. Who do you think you are? But here's the truth. Shame cannot survive being spoken. It feeds in silence. Believing in yourself requires you to confront that voice, name it, and replace it with compassion. When you say to yourself, I am worthy of trying, of failing, and of growing, shame begins to lose its grip, and your belief begins to rise. Belief is built in the small moments. So many of us are waiting for some big, grand moment where we'll finally feel confident, finally feel ready. But self-belief is built in the quiet, everyday choices. It's saying yes to the opportunity even when you feel unqualified. It's getting back up after a failure. It's trusting your voice when it trembles. Confidence isn't the prerequisite, it's the reward of choosing to believe day after day, step after step. Your story is enough. Even as it's being written, we often believe we need to arrive somewhere before we're worthy of believing in ourselves. But the truth is, your story has value even while it's unfolding. Belief means honoring your path as it is, not waiting for a highlight reel. You don't need a perfect past or guaranteed future to believe in who you are right now. You are becoming, and that is powerful. That is enough. Believing you can inspires others to believe they can too. There is something magnetic and deeply human about watching someone rise. When you choose to believe in yourself authentically, vulnerably, you give permission to others to do the same. Your courage creates space for others to find theirs. You don't just build your own life, you light a path for others. That's the beauty of wholehearted living. It doesn't stop with us. It ripples outward. Belief in yourself doesn't start when you have all the answers, or when your path is perfectly clear. It begins in the quiet, uncertain moments. When you feel exposed, when you're unsure of what comes next, and yet you choose to show up anyway. Vulnerability is often misunderstood as weakness, but it is in fact our greatest measure of courage to stand before the world with your heart wide open. Knowing you could fail, knowing you could fall, knowing you could fall, knowing others might not understand, and still saying, I'm here and I'm trying. That is the real beginning of self-belief. When we think about the people we admire most, the ones who inspire us, we rarely remember them for their perfection. We remember their honesty, their struggle, their willingness to let us see them. Not when they were winning, but when they were growing. When you allow yourself to be seen without the armor, without the mask, you begin to connect with the most authentic parts of who you are. And in that connection, belief takes root. It may not be loud, it may not feel like confidence at first, but it's real and it's yours. So many of us wait until we feel completely ready before we act. But the truth is that readiness is a myth. You become ready by moving forward. You build belief, not in absence of fear, but in the presence of it. You whisper to yourself, even when your voice shakes, I don't have to be fearless. I just have to be brave for one more moment, one more step, one more try. That's where belief is born, in the decision to continue. Despite uncertainty, vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change. When you dare to be vulnerable, you're saying, I believe in the possibility of something better. I believe that I am worthy of growth, even if I stumble along the way. You stop defining yourself by your mistakes and start defining yourself by your willingness to rise. Believing in yourself is not about arrogance or ego. It's about embracing your humanity. It's saying, I am imperfect and I am still deserving of love, success, joy, and the opportunity to try again. That shift in mindset doesn't happen overnight. But every time you choose vulnerability over fear, you're watering the roots of belief. And that's how it grows from the inside out, one brave choice at a time. If there is one force that quietly but powerfully erodes our belief in ourselves, it is shame. Shame is that inner voice that tells us we are not enough, that we are broken, that we do not deserve to try or to succeed. It doesn't shout, it whispers just enough to make us doubt our worth, just enough to hold us back from stepping into who we are meant to be. And what makes shame so dangerous is its silence. It grows stronger in the places we refuse to talk about it, in the corners of our stories we're too afraid to bring into the light. Shame thrives in secrecy. It convinces us to hide our struggles, to mask our insecurities, to pretend we have it all together. Because the moment we acknowledge the parts of ourselves that feel fragile or unworthy, we fear rejection, we fear judgment. But here's what I've learned in years of researching vulnerability and courage. The only way to truly believe in yourself is to confront shame head on, to name it, to speak it, to pull it out of the dark and into the light of compassion. When you say out loud, I feel like I'm not good enough, I feel like I'm not smart enough or brave enough or strong enough, and someone meets you with empathy, that's when shame starts to lose its power. Empathy is the antidote to shame, and self-compassion is the medicine we give ourselves. When no one else is around, believing in yourself means acknowledging that you are a human being, not a machine, not a flawless performer, but a person who is allowed to make mistakes and still be worthy. The more we internalize shame, the more we start to believe that we are fundamentally flawed, and that belief becomes a wall between us and our potential. It keeps us playing small. It keeps us quiet. It convinces us that if we were truly seen, we wouldn't be loved. But when we begin to understand that our worth is not on the table, that it doesn't increase with success or disappear with failure, then we can finally begin to believe in our own voice, in our own power, in our own right to try and to grow. Self-belief is not built on perfection. It is built on the willingness to be imperfect, to be seen, and to still say, I matter. That is how we begin to silence shame and awaken belief. We often imagine belief in ourselves as something that arrives all at once, like a wave of confidence that suddenly washes over us and changes everything. But that's not how it works. Real lasting belief is built quietly in the small unseen choices we make every single day. It's not the loud moments, it's not the standing ovations or the applause. It's the decision to keep going when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, when everything in you is whispering that you're not ready. Self-belief grows in the moments you get out of bed. Even when you feel defeated, it grows when you speak up in the meeting. Even though your heart is racing, it grows when you apply for something you're afraid you won't get or take the first step toward a goal that feels too far away. Belief is not a switch, it's a muscle, and you build it by using it again and again in the quiet, repeated moments of choosing yourself. Sometimes we wait for the perfect conditions to believe in ourselves. We wait until we feel confident, until we feel capable, until we're sure we won't fail. But confidence is not a prerequisite. It's a result of showing up. It's something you earn through that action, not something you wait for. And the beautiful thing is that every time you choose to act, despite your fear, despite your doubt, you reinforce a new narrative. You tell yourself, I can do hard things. I can try even when I'm uncertain. We live in a world that celebrates the finish line, but the real magic is in the starting. It's in the consistent effort. It's in the decision to begin. And again, even after setbacks, even after rejections, even after self-doubt has knocked on your door, belief builds each time you refuse to give up on yourself. Each time you say, this is worth trying because I am worth trying. It's in the small acts of bravery, the moments when you trust your intuition, the times you keep a promise to yourself when no one else is around. Those are the quiet victories that matter the most. And when you string enough of those moments together, something powerful begins to happen. You stop waiting to feel worthy, and you start living like you already are. That is where true self-belief is born, and that is how it grows steady, honest, and unshakable. So often we fall into the trap of thinking that we have to arrive somewhere before we are allowed to believe in ourselves. We think we need the job, the title, the degree, the recognition before we can claim our worth, before we can look in the mirror and say, I am enough. But the truth is, you do not have to wait for a perfect ending to start believing in yourself. Your story matters even while it is unfolding, even while it's messy, uncertain, and incomplete. We have been conditioned to see value in finished products, in polished versions of success, but real growth doesn't happen in the highlight reel. It happens in the quiet chapters, the ones where you're still figuring things out, where you're stumbling forward, one unsure step at a time. And those chapters are just as worthy as the moments where everything looks picture perfect. Your story is not only valuable when you win, it's valuable when you rise after falling, when you keep showing up, when it would be easier to quit. Believing in yourself while your story is still being written is an act of radical self-trust. It means saying, I don't have all the answers, but I'm still moving forward. It means recognizing that worth is not something you earn after success. It's something you carry with you right now, in this moment, no matter where you are on your journey. It's okay if your life doesn't look like anyone else's. It's okay if you're still figuring it out. It's okay to grow slowly, to take detours, to change your mind. Your story is not behind. It is unfolding exactly as it needs to. And believing in yourself through that process means honoring every version of you, the one who began with fear, the one who failed with grace, and the one who still dares to try again. You don't have to have it all together to be proud of how far you've come. You don't have to be finished to be enough. What matters is that you are choosing yourself every day, even when it's hard, even when the path is unclear. Your story is not defined by a single moment. It is shaped by every step you take with courage and belief. And that is what makes it powerful. Not that it's perfect, but that it's yours, and it's real, and it's still being written with heart. There is something deeply powerful about a person who chooses to believe in themselves, not with arrogance or ego, but with quiet courage and authenticity. When someone shows up for their life, fully present, fully real, and says, "I believe I am worthy of this journey," it doesn't just change them, it changes the people around them. Self-belief is not something that only affects one person. It becomes a source of light that shines outward, inspiring others to believe they can rise too. When we witness someone stepping into their power, despite fear or doubt, we are reminded of our own potential. It awakens something in us, not because they are perfect, but because they are human, because they are doing something we all long to do, to trust ourselves, even when it's hard. Your belief in yourself becomes an invitation for others to examine the way they speak to themselves, the way they shrink their dreams, the way they hold back from their own potential. Every time you take a step forward, you are telling someone else it is possible. Every time you speak with vulnerability, you give someone else permission to speak their truth. Every time you show up after falling down, you model resilience and remind others that failure is not the end. It is part of becoming something more. And that's the gift your belief gives the people around you. It tells them you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing to try. The ripple effect of self-belief is one of the most beautiful parts of human connection. It means that your courage, your healing, your growth is never just about you. It becomes a thread that weaves through your relationships, your family, your community. Your presence gives others a reason to hope, to reach, to begin again. We often think the world needs more perfection, but what it truly needs is more people who are willing to be real, to be brave, to believe in who they are, even when the path is uncertain. When you choose to believe in yourself, you create space for others to do the same. And that space becomes a place where transformation begins, where fear loses its grip, and where the seeds of courage begin to grow. So your belief is not just for you. It is a gift you give to others, and it matters more than you know. So as we come to the end of this message, I want you to hold one truth close to your heart. Believing in yourself is not about being certain or fearless or perfect. It is about being willing. It is about showing up every single day with your doubts, with your scars, with your hopes, and still choosing to try, choosing to grow, choosing to rise. When you believe you can, you begin to move differently. You speak differently. You live with purpose. And even when the world is uncertain, your inner voice becomes steady. So take the first step. Speak your truth. Trust your journey, because you are capable, you are worthy, and you are enough. Believe you can, and you will. So tonight, let this be more than a phrase. Let it be a decision, a declaration. Believe you can, and you will. Not because success is guaranteed, but because you are worthy of the journey. You are brave enough to begin, and that alone is a radical act of courage.